Now in this lecture we are going to solve number factor problem by using two methods of dynamic programming, top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file over here and name it numberFactor.java. Now inside this file we are going to create our class like this. So it's going to be like this, public class numberFactor, like this. Now here we are going to implement two methods of dynamic programming for solving number factor problem. Now the first approach is to solve this problem by using top-down approach. So here the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a method which is private, and this method will return integer because we need to find out ways to get the given number. So in this case it's going to be like this. So I'm going to name the method ways to get n. So I'm going to put over here top-down, so we can identify that this is top-down approach. Now in this case, as we said before, it's going to take two parameters. So the first parameter will be array, in which we are going to save the calculated subproblems, and second parameter will be n, for which we want to find out ways to get n. So in this case we know that we have base conditions. So if n is equal to 0, or it is equal to 1, or it is equal to 2, in this case we are returning 1. So that's why I'm going to write base condition like this: if n is equal to 0, or n is equal to 1, or n is equal to 2, in this case we are returning 1. So this is first base condition. Now the second base condition will be like this: if n is equal to 3, in this case we are returning 2. So these are our base condition. Now as we said before, when we are implementing dynamic programming, the first step is we are sending array as a parameter over here. So then the next step is we need to check that if calculated subproblem is not in this array over here, in this case we are going to calculate 3 subproblems over here. Then we are going to add this result to this array that we have over here. So I'm going to check it like this: if the array, dynamic programming array with the index of n is equal to 0, because whenever we are creating an array over here, default value is 0. So that's why I'm going to check that if it is equal to 0, it means that we have not inserted any value for this index over here. So in this case we are going to calculate subproblems like this. So subproblem 1 is equal to ways to get. So I'm going to call this method recursively. So here we are going to put dp as an array, and the second parameter will be n-1, because in this case, as we said before, for the first subproblem we are putting n-1, for the second subproblem we are putting n-3, for the third subproblem we are putting n-4. So here the first subproblem will be like this, then the second subproblem will be like this. So I'm just going to put it 2 and n-3, and for the third subproblem it's going to be like this: subproblem 3 n-4. Now with this, after calculating it, we are going to sum up these subproblems to get the main result over here. So here also we need to put 2. So then I'm going to put it like this. So after calculating this, we are putting this subproblem inside this array that we created over here. So it's going to be like this: subproblem 1 plus subproblem 2 plus subproblem 3. So with this we have successfully implemented third step also. Now the second step was we are checking that if the calculated solution in this array or not. Then in the third step we are calculating the value and inserting to this array over here. So we are updating the value of cell which is located at the index of n. Now after doing so, we are going to return, as a fourth step, we are going to return dp with the index of n. Now with this we have successfully implemented our method. Now we are going to create another method which will call this method. So this method will be public method. So I'm going to put it like this: public int, the name will be the same. Now in this case it's going to take only one parameter, which will be integer n. Now based on this n, we are going to create an array and pass as a parameter to this function over here. So it's going to be like this: integer dp is equal to, so we need to set the size of dp. So in this case we are going to put with the size of n plus 1. So after creating it, so we are going to return by calling this method with this array that we created over here and with the n that we are receiving from here. Now with this we have successfully implemented top-down approach for calculating number factor problem over here. Now let's see how this is working in practice. So here I'm just going to create an instance of this class. So it's going to be number factor is equal to new number factor like this. Then I'm going to call top-down method to calculate it, for example, for the value of 4 over here. So it's going to be like this. So to see the result in the console, I'm just going to call print method, and inside print method, I'm just going to call the method that we created over here, ways to get top down. So here as an n, I'm just going to put 4. So in case of 4, we know that the result should be 4. So if I run our code, you see that in this case, it's returning 4. So this means that our method works correct. So if I try, for example, for 5, in this case, it should return 6. So we have calculated before. So as you can see, in this case, it's returning 6. So this means that we have successfully implemented top-down approach for calculating number factor problem. Now, after implementing top-down approach, we are going to implement bottom-up approach for calculating number factor problem. So I'm just going to comment over here, bottom-up. So here I'm going to create a method which calculates number factor problem using bottom-up approach. So this method name will be like this, public int ways to get n. So here I'm going to put bottom up. So this method will take only one parameter, n. Now here, the first thing that we are going to do, we need to create an array, and we are going to insert the base conditions to this array over here. Now then, after inserting these base conditions to this array, we are going to calculate the next problems using these conditions over here. So it's going to be like this, integer dp is equal to new integer with the size of n plus 1. Then we are going to set index of 0 is equal to dp index of 1 and is equal to dp index of 2 is equal to 1. So we are setting these three indexes to 1. Then the dp with the index of 3 will be 2. So these are the base conditions that we have over here. Now after doing so, we are going to loop through the array and calculate other indexes over here. So it's going to be like this. For int I is going to start from 4 because till 3 we have calculated all of them. Then it's going to continue until I is equal to n. Then in each step it's going to be increased by 1. So here we are going to calculate the next subproblems using previous subproblems over here. So based on these subproblems that are located at the index of 0, 1, 2, and 3, we are going to calculate, for example, next one will be 4, then the next one will be 5. It's going to continue like this. So dp with the index of I is equal to dp with the index of I minus 1 plus dp with the index of I minus 3, then plus dp with the index of I minus 4. So with this, we have successfully calculated our next subproblem over here. Then at the end, we are going to return dp with the index of n. Because in this case, we are calculating the subproblems from bottom to up. So after 3, it's going to calculate 4, then it's going to calculate 5, 6, and 7, and it will continue until we reach the n over here. Now with this, we have successfully implemented our method. Now let's see if we are getting the same result as top-down method in practice. So here we have created an instance of number factor class. So we have called top-down method over here for the number of 5. So in this case, I'm just going to call bottom-up method for the number of 5. So both methods should return same result. So if I run our code, you see that in this case, both methods return 6. So this means that we have successfully implemented top-down approach and bottom-up approach for calculating number factor problem using dynamic programming. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. So hopefully everything is clear about these methods over here. So see you in the next lecture.